What's going on, everybody? K came here, and in today's video, I have another scrim series on evac hardpoint, and this one's close as well. So the last time I posted an evac hardpoint, it went 250 to 249, and we ended up winning it by a point, thanks to me going big and hill and getting a two-piece, killing a guy with kinetic, and then popping my own kinetic to get a kill, and we kind of went huge right at the end. This game, you'll see Huntsman go absolutely massive at the end. He gets like a three-piece and then a fourth in hill to break a hill when they have 244 points, and we were still at like 235. Then we managed to hold it from then on out, and we just had such a great setup, and just really kind of prevented them from even touching the hill. So it's a great game. You guys are going to enjoy it. I kind of just spoiled it. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, what we're talking about today is the new team. So I talked about it back with Tizzy, or back when we picked up Tizzy. I'm pretty sure I talked about it when we picked up Grady. And I'm not sure what other rosters I've talked about it with, but like I've just made some like first thought videos on rosters that I've had, and so when we picked up Tizzy, I gave my first thoughts, and I was talking about how he needed to learn a lot. He was a great player, great gun skill, but he still needed to learn a lot, and we managed to we got him in shape a little bit, but he didn't really stay long enough to actually release his full potential. So that was kind of unfortunate with Tizzy because he had such a great future in COD, and he chose CS over it, which I mean, he's turned into a pretty good CS player. I haven't seen him in a while, but I did see him a couple months ago or so, and he was a pretty good opper, and he had some crazy shots. And now he's under SSK CS, so kind of cool that I still get to stay in touch with him, and that he's still under my organization that Nitro and myself own and created with Nitro's brother, and I think that's cool that we're able to expand into other games and pick up a CS roster. And if you asked me a while ago, I never would have expected to have a roster in any other game. And you know, I guess just the cards lined up right, and we were able to pick up a CS team with Tizzy. So I think it's kind of cool how that worked out, and definitely I'm content with how it played out. I still think that Tizzy had a bright future in Call of Duty, but that's his decision, what he did. Good for him. You know, he's doing what he loves, what he wanted to do, and whatnot. So, anyways, I've kind of gotten off track a little bit, and I'm gonna bring it back as you see me almost getting that four-piece there. I'm gonna bring it back to the main topic of the video, and that's my first thoughts on this roster. So, it's basically oh wow, I cannot speak still. But it's basically what you would expect from a new roster. A lot of mistakes, a lot of ill-knowledge players, and ill-knowledge plays that, you know, you kind of have to go through in theater and like teach them, and have like I think the most frustrating part about it is that mid-game I have to worry about placing their Doritos where they're supposed to be. Like you see right there, if you rewind it a couple seconds, we had two people top glass, both Logic and John, the two young players on the team. And that shouldn't happen. One of them should have pushed out Tree, and the other person should have dropped down to help out Hill until someone dropped down on the edges, on the wings or whatever you want to call it. And like, there's just so many mistakes that you see us making as a team that you can't do. And I think, you know, kind of that's the most frustrating part, is that there's so many mistakes that you have to fix. Like, after every game, there's just so many mistakes, like it's so hard to fix them all. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing coming from a team and Ghost, when everyone knew what they were doing. I mean, obviously it wasn't that hard to know what you were doing in Ghost, because it was just like rotate flags, hop on flags, run straight for a blitz, make sure all the lanes were covered, and just basically that was it. Like, it was pretty easy to play strategy wise, unless you played S&D. But in this game, there's so many things you have to worry about, like rotations, when to rotate, where to be, where to position yourself, how to hold a hill, how to set up spawns, and flags, how not to pinch spawns, and so many things that you have to focus on, and also lines of sight with the movement. There's so many things. So with a new team, it's hard because there's a lot of mistakes being made. And I see the potential in John and Logic. I see a lot of potential. And I know Huntsman can win because I played with him and won before. So I know that Huntsman wouldn't be a person... that Huntsman's not a person I need to worry about. So The only thing that I kind of have to worry about with Huntsman is that his only hardpoint and CTF knowledge comes from Black Ops 2. He did not play AW very much because of the fire that I talked about 2 videos ago and his Xbox breaking, so he only ended up playing like, let's see, he played about 2 months of AW, so not really too much experience there, and that's with the movement system, and I think Black Ops 3 Hardpoint, I'd probably relate it more to AW Hardpoint than I would with Black Ops 2 Hardpoint. Now, it's sort of a mix between the two, but with the movement and everything, I'd kind of relate it to AW more. And in Black Ops 2, you didn't really have cross-map rotations. Like, you'd have rotations that would go to the other side of the map, but it wouldn't be across the map. You'd just rotate along the side of the map. Like, in Slums, for example, which is the one I'm thinking of right now, you'd have a rotation go from, I can't even remember the callouts, but like that lot area, or like you'd have it go from the bottom left area if you looked at the minimap, the second hill, to the third hill, which was the lot area, and then it went into auto, which was just along the back side of the map then, and it was just basically rotating around the map, getting back to mid, rotating around the map, and it just made a circle. That's what a rotation should be. In this game, this hill in specific, or this map in specific, it plays more like Black Ops 2. But then you have hills like Fringe, or actually, Fringe isn't really the best example, but you have hills like, let me think one real quick. You have Breach, where you go from green all the way across the map. You go from, like, you go second hill to third hill. You go Cages to Palace, cross map. You have to cross the map if you were going in a straight line to it. And Palace to green, you'd cross map again. Basically make a triangle with those 3 hills. And it wouldn't be a right triangle either. So that's kind of my point. But anyways, there's, like I said, a lot of mistakes, and Huntsman's still trying to get back into like his form. And with this team, you don't have the slaying power that you had with Maniac and Nitro, or Tizzy even. Like, you don't have that slaying power. With Nitro and Tizzy, we were able to win matches just based on slaying power, that Tizzy and I were able to just demolish people in Hill, and then Huntsman just had to basically sit in Hill. Nitro just had to worry about staying alive and making sure he wasn't in the wrong place. He just had to worry about where he was, and that was our success right there. That was basically our strategy. That was our formula. And it worked so well just because we had... It would be like Optic Gaming. Like, when they first became a team, they were such a slay-heavy team. And they didn't really have to worry about anything. They didn't have to worry about setups as much. Just because they were so slay-heavy, they knew they could get the kills when they needed to. They knew that they could get all these key gunfight wins. And there was just like no stopping them. There's nobody that could kill them until FaZe came along. And that's sort of how it was with Tizzy. Like, we were just so good at getting kills, and if you can't get kills, or if you get a lot of kills, and look at that spawn. Like, it's unrelated, but look at that spawn. We literally spawned right next to each other. But, what was I saying? But, oh, I don't even remember what I was saying. But anyways, with this roster, obviously John's not nearly as good as Tizzy at getting kills or winning gunfights. And obviously Logic isn't as good as winning gunfights as Tizzy or getting kills. So, and also with those two, like, it's more of a consistency thing as well. Like, I've seen John drop 40. I've seen him drop high 30s and still lose, and that's something I never thought I'd see, but I saw it. So, you know, and then like most other games, we'll be losing, and we'll have myself and Logic at the top, and then John will be struggling. And it's just consistency. Even with Huntsman as well. Like, he'll have some games where he's like dropping 20 kills, and then he can have other games where he's up there with me. So there's so much consistency, or there's so much inconsistency on the team. It's kind of frustrating, and I don't know what they were doing here. As you see, Logic and John, those are the two people that pushed back. They ran out of the hill and jumped towards the back when I was already plat. So I was like, all right, I'll take hill, I guess, and then they end up dying on spawns too, and so I was just like, why? But anyways, like, we don't have the slaying factor. We have myself, and I mean, I'm a great slayer. I'm not gonna hide. I'm not gonna act all, oh, I'm not that good. And I know it might sound egotistical, but I promise I'm a good player. I promise I'm good at getting kills, and I know what I'm doing. So like I know I can get kills, and so I'm sort of like back when Optic didn't have their God Squad, like back in Ghost before they got Proofy. I'm sort of like the scump of the team. Like I get you basically count on me to get all those kills, and you expect me to have the huge performance. Whereas with the new Optic Gaming, you see everyone getting kills, and with the old SSK from Black Ops 3 with Tizzy, you could see myself getting a lot of kills, Tizzy getting a lot of kills, and it wasn't just me. With this roster, it's basically you expect me to be right up there at the top. And normally, most games, you'll have at least one other person with me. So inconsistency definitely a problem, and losing focus. This is a lot. This is a thing that I've seen a lot with a couple of rosters in this game. Losing focus, like for example, you're mid game and you just kind of lose focus, forget to rotate, forget to go for spawns, forget to challenge spawns, forget to flood spawns, and you just start playing it like an amateur would. And that's something you can't do if you expect to win. So you definitely have to think a lot more, and that's a lot. That's one thing that at times Logic and John kind of stop doing, and even Huntsman, and I'll even admit at times I do too. So we kind of lose focus. We just start playing blindly. We don't think. We don't put our mind to it and think, and that's what costs us a lot. So. What did I not cover? Oh yeah, so another thing is the potential. I see a lot of potential. I know John can be good, and I know Logic can be good, and I've seen Logic drop 40s before. I've seen him make smart plays. I've seen him go big and make big plays, and so I know he can do things. And right here is where Huntsman gets this 3-piece. If you look at the kill feed, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3 for the break. So huge plays by Huntsman, and then he's going to get a 4th right here. And there's me, there's John. Wow, he got the kill a lot later than I thought he did. Maybe I missed it. Nope, there it is. Alright, so, like, I think it's kind of interesting to see where they've come from. So, Logic, he's only 14 years old. The kid's seriously, like, a youngling, and he's still hanging with a lot of these teams we're playing, so kudos to him. And John, I know that I'm over the gameplay right now, so I apologize for that. But John is a player that went from being the person that everybody would make fun of in Ghost for dropping 2 kills on a strike zone dom, and he just sucked so much, and it was just so tough, just like playing with him, watching him. Like he was just that person. He was that kind of player that you just laugh at whenever he'd try and say anything because he was so bad. And he went from that to being alright in AW, and now in Black Ops 3, he's back on SSK Gaming, and I'm teaming with him again. And, just kind of seeing that transformation is just like, wow, if he's grown this much, I can't wait to see how far he can grow. And he also has shown lots of signs of dedication as well. Same with Logic. Like, these guys want to win, and I feel it's definitely super satisfying, super contentful that Logic and John and Huntsman, this whole roster wants to win. This whole roster is super competitive. Logic's got that motivation to win. I have that motivation to win again, and I love winning more than anything, and I hate losing more than anything. And it frustrates me beyond belief. And Huntsman wants to win everything, and everything there is to win. And then John, he's definitely shaped up a lot recently as well. Like it used to be just like, oh, why? And he'd just like kind of complain and stuff. And that's another kind of negative that he has, is that he makes excuses for everything rather than just playing it out. He'll be like, oh, I got one bursted. Oh, this guy joked me every single death. Like you can't get joked every single death, dude. And it gets really annoying. And I know Logic's been annoyed by that. But then also like when we dropped Nitro and we picked up John, and we were trying out 4ths, we were debating, like Huntsman and I were planning on just finding 2 other people and trying to run with a whole new roster and trying to see if we could find more success that way, which we probably could have, and we could have found a successful team. But we stuck with it, and John went from basically almost being dropped to he's got a solid spot on the roster now with Logic. So I think it's funny how times change, and if he's already grown this much, I can't wait to see how much he can grow even more. Same with Logic. If he's only 14, he's got so many years to unleash his potential. And I think it's definitely going to be interesting to be able to see these guys grow up and kind of play with them as they get better. And I'm also like the person that teaches them. So I know Logic's talked about it, John's talked about it, and Tizzy's talked about it a lot. Like when they team with me, they kind of like Tizzy. I'm gonna use him as an example since I'm teaming with Logic and he's sort of newish, like a month, just over like 5 weeks now. And like with Logic or with Tizzy, he's been like super thankful and he thanks me every chance he gets of like the start that I gave him in Call of Duty, and I was sort of like his big brother, I guess, in a way. And I'm sort of like that with John as well. Like I teach him a lot, and I'm sort of been like his big brother, like putting him into shape. Like if he starts mouthing off or doing something that I don't think he should be doing, I tell him, and I kind of try and make him a better person, make him a better player, and do everything that I can for him and make sure that I'm doing a lot of stuff for him and making sure that I can make him as much of a good person and a good player that I can. And I'd like to do that with all my teammates. I like my teammates to be great, and I want to see them succeed. I like seeing Tizzy play CS and be a great player. I like seeing, uh, well, I guess that's the only player that was. Well, okay, that's kind of awkward. That's the only player